Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus here in Arlington, Texas. Welcome to the Profit Break. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you're going to be well on your way to improving yourself and your profitability. Now, while artificial intelligence, or AI, is the buzzword for the year, what does it really mean for all of you running a small business? Well, today we're in luck because on today's episode, we're going to talk with Mr. Steve Lerch, who has formerly taught innovation philosophy at Google's global headquarters and is now the president and founder of Story Art Consulting. Now, besides being a sought-after keynote speaker and an AI thought leader, Steve also provides consulting services with various organizations on strategic planning, digital marketing, and consumer analytics. Steve, welcome back. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Good to be back. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Now, hey, you are quickly becoming an industry friend of ours and been with us on several occasions. We want to dig in today a little bit on this topic of AI, but we want to think about it from a strategic perspective, maybe for managers and owners. But before we jump in, while the media is making AI a buzzword, the reality is that AI has been with us for some time, and I know you spent a lot of time at Google. So maybe you could talk a little bit about previously, before we all became aware of AI, what type of things were Google and you working on years ago that nobody knew about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely became a buzzword. A lot of people have referred to 2023 as like the year of AI or the year that AI took over. Most scientists, engineers, researchers will tell you that AI, as we think of it, was invented in 1952 at MIT when a guy, I forget, Arthur Samuel is his name. He invented a machine that could teach itself how to play checkers. So AI is about 72 years old, which I think probably surprises a lot of people. And yeah, certainly being at Google, even in what I did at Google, which was, yes, teaching innovation, but I also worked in the marketing space. I mean, I saw AI in practice all the time. And I don't have an engineering background. I'm not a coder. I wasn't building AI, but we used it in everything we did. And even as consumers interacting with Google and other businesses, you've been interacting with AI for decades. The smart assistants on your phone, whether that's Google Home or it's Alexa or Siri, that's AI. When you go to shop online, whether that's Google Shopping or on Amazon, and you buy a product and it says, people who like that might also like this. That's a form of artificial intelligence. That's machine learning. When I was at Google, again, I worked a lot in marketing and advertising. We've been using machine learning to help strategically place advertisements, which is how Google makes, the vast majority of its revenue. Machine learning has been baked into our placement strategies and bidding strategies for literally more than a decade, 15 years probably at this point, if not longer. So yeah, it was really everywhere. Different forms of it, different ways to interact with it, different interfaces. But in some way or another, companies like Google and even less technological companies have been using AI for a lot longer than we've all been calling it AI.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. It's amazing. It's been around 70 plus years. So let's jump ahead to today and think about for those that might be tuning in a leadership, ownership kind of capacity, small business operators, many of which have bowling or bowling entertainment centers. Should they even be worrying about AI today, right? I mean, I know it's a buzzword and the media's talking about it, but should they be worrying about it? And if so, why?
Yeah, I think there's a common feeling, and I don't know if it's a fear or what exactly it is, where there's still a lot of people who are kind of reluctant to embrace it, let's say, to really dive in. And I think a lot of small business owners or medium-sized business owners probably fall into that category. What I've started telling people is that AI is, the truth is it's so impressive right now. And if you've never used AI tools, generative AI tools, it'll probably blow your minds with what it can do today. But there's no denying that tomorrow it's going to be better. And next month it's going to be better. Next year it's going to be better. And as it gets better, it'll only get more important. And I like to think that we're at a point now that you could compare very realistically to the early days of when we started having computers that we could use to help run our business, or to early days when we started having the internet for the first time to help us with our business. And just as there was, 2 decades ago and 4 decades ago with those technologies, there were people who jumped on early and started learning it and started finding their way through, who got comfortable with the technology early on, and there were people who didn't. There are people who say, I've been doing this job, I've been running this bowling center for years or for my lifetime without a computer, without the internet, without artificial intelligence. So I don't really need to bother. And those people, inevitably, with new technologies like this, you fall behind. I think I've met a lot of people who are in this industry at this point, going to a lot of events and conferences in the bowling space. And some of the common challenges people face with staffing, some of the common challenges people face with just all the different pools on their time, just being busy, not having enough time to do certain things. AI can potentially be a solution for so many common challenges. And if you don't start getting comfortable with it now, you're going to fall behind so quickly because these technologies are going to grow so fast and people are going to start embracing them more and more quickly. It's just, yes, you can think about what it gives you to try AI, but you also kind of think about what you lose if you're the one person, the one business, the one bowling center not trying, not using, not understanding this big new technology. So it's a risk as much as it's an opportunity.
Yeah, I hope that everybody joined us today just really heard what you said, and I hope they'll go back and listen to it again because it's very profound. And your analogy of linking, the website and the internet for small businesses and where AI fits in, I think is profound. So I think you nailed that and really have given us some stuff to think about there. So we've now we're coming to that point of where do we start, right? We want to embrace it. We don't want to get left behind strategically. Where do we start and kind of what's that best first step?
Yeah, I think the thing about taking a first step, the first thing you got to do is get over like your fear or feeling overwhelmed or whatever it is. And I mean, the things we just talked about, the internet, computers, I always come back to this. I'm traveling the country at this point speaking on AI. I used to teach innovation at Google. And I know very little about computers and computing. I don't know how to code. I'm not an engineer. I don't understand algorithms. Just as, if I'm perfectly honest, I don't really know how the internet works. Like honestly, if I had to explain to you how internet signals get from one device to another, I don't really understand the technology behind it. That's not to say I don't benefit from it every day or utilize it fully every day in my business. We need people to feel like that about AI. So get over the fear. It's okay that you don't totally understand it. It's okay that it seems big and complicated and overwhelming. You can still use it. So get over the fear. And then there's really, I would say, two first steps for the average bowling center owner, manager, leader in this industry. The first thing is to do a little, and I mean a little, research. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a master. You don't have to learn the history of that checkers thing at MIT. But spend a little time on Google, a little time on YouTube, looking at things like, do searches for top 10 ways to use AI for a small business owner, top 10 best AI tools for marketing, top 10 best AI tools for people management, best ways to use ChatGPT. Do a few of those searches, watch a couple little 10-minute videos, carve out, let's say, an hour to learn just a little about AI and how other people are using it. But then the next first step, quite simply, is to dive in and try it. There's very little risk. There's very little entry cost. Most of the most popular sort of consumer-facing AI products, ChatGPT being the most famous at this point, probably the most well-known, you can use for free. You can use with, I think at this point, no sign up. I don't even think you need an email address to like log into it. I think there's a free version you can just dive in on. And there's other tools like Gemini, which is Google's tool, or Copilot from Microsoft. But just start with ChatGPT. Just dive in and start asking it questions. It's very easy. If you've never been into it before, it basically looks like a search bar. It's just a big empty canvas that you can ask questions to. Just try it. Start asking it questions. Hey, give me 10 new ideas for my bowling center. Hey, write me a Facebook post to advertise this promotion we're doing. Again, do some of those searches on Google and YouTube, learn some ideas, get some ideas of what other people are doing. But then again, you just got to carve out time to play around. I think these AI tools, it's really about, in some ways, self-discovery. You won't know what you personally need it for or what you personally can get out of it until you kind of stumble around a little bit until you ask it some of those questions. Again, there's no risk. It's like brainstorming in private, but with 1,000 geniuses answering every question you have. So again, carve out the time. I know you're busy people, but you can find an hour to go into ChatGPT and goof around and just see where you get. So that's what I would say. It's a get over your fear, do a tiny bit of research, and then carve out an hour to just dive into a platform. ChatGPT is a good entry point. There are certainly others, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah, so I think you've given us some great resources there to think about strategically. The message is, you can't break it. You don't have to understand it. You just have to do it. I don't understand compound interest, but I love it, right? So, just some great research tactics to get in there. So
yeah, if I can teach it, and I know not that much about computers and engineering, certainly you can use it and benefit from it.
Okay. Well, hey, Steve, before we let you get away today, I want to sneak in one more question, because while we have a person of your expertise, I always like to kind of have folks with your knowledge that are thinking ahead. You're always looking ahead. You're always thinking about the next big thing. From a strategic or management perspective, any thoughts on where you see AI in the future, the next 5 to 10 years? What are some crazy things that you're hearing about in your circles that may or may not come to fruition?
Yeah, well, there's no shortage of crazy things being said about what the future of AI will look like, whether that's like the Terminator and it's going to destroy humanity, or it's going to be the greatest thing that humans have ever created. And it's going to, I joke that when I first started talking about AI, I used to show quotes from different well-respected genius billionaire business tycoons, some like Bill Gates saying that AI would be the greatest thing in the history of the world, and some like Elon Musk saying we're unleashing the devil on Earth. Now I just show multiple quotes from Elon Musk, because he will tell you one day that it's going to ruin the entire world. And then just recently, he had a big, long thing where he talked about how AI is going to usher in an age of abundance, where we're going to have an abundance of everything we need. People will only have to work jobs if they want to have a job. And that's Elon Musk, who's been one of the most outspoken critics of AI. So no one knows for sure where we're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years. I know for sure AI is going to get better and bigger and more prevalent. I know for sure more people are going to be using it. I know for sure it's going to replace jobs. At the same time, it will create jobs. At the same time, it will change jobs and alter jobs. But there's no doubt that certain jobs we won't need as many people in, or certain jobs won't need to exist in the forms they exist. And that's true for bowling centers. It's true for, I think, anyone in the service industry. Look at the things we already do with technology, with customer service, with chatbots, with all those sorts of things, where in essence, maybe we're replacing jobs, or we're at least replacing man hours. We're replacing hours spent by humans doing certain activities. Just as bowling centers replaced the kids down at the end of the lane setting pins, right? Or manual scorekeeping. So certainly the world's going to change, and businesses are going to change, and jobs are going to change. And what I always say to people is, if we can't look 5 years ahead and say it's going to look exactly like this, then all you can do to get ready for that is to be sort of as prepared as possible. And I think right now what that means is taking these first steps that we talked about. It's getting comfortable with some of the basic consumer-facing AI tools that exist, so that as the world changes, at least you kind of have a sense, you have a little familiarity, a little comfort with what AI can do and what it's capable of. I know for sure that in 5 years, you'll be better off knowing a little about AI than knowing nothing about AI. So I don't have the crystal ball, but I certainly know that starting now is going to be beneficial to everyone, certainly bowling center owners, but everyone.
Yeah. Well, wise advice, and that's a great place to leave it for today. Steve, thank you. As always, it's a pleasure to tap into your knowledge and expertise.
I appreciate it. Always fun to talk to you, Bart.
Right. Well, hey, everyone, if you'd like to learn more about how AI can help your small business, you can connect with Steve anytime at storyartconsulting.com. Now, if you're ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us here at education@bpaa.com. So as we wrap up another edition of The Profit Break, remember, when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. Now, this episode, as well as all our previous Profit Break episodes, available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinuniversity.net. Now, we have new episodes available every month. Mark your calendar, watch your email. Join us on Facebook to hear about our latest episodes. Until then, I'm Bart Berger, and do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.